Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Beyond Words. This is Jessica, and today I want to talk about something simple, something we all experience every single day: transportation. Sounds ordinary, right? Cars, buses, trains, motorcycles, bicycles, airplanes, just ways to move from one place to another. But if you slow down and really think about it, transportation isn't only about moving your body, it's also about moving your life. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the word transportation? Maybe it's the sound of traffic, cars honking in the distance. Or maybe it's a quiet walk under the morning sun. For some people, it's the rush of catching a train. For others, it's the slow comfort of sitting by a bus window, watching the world pass by. Transportation, such a common part of our lives, and yet we rarely stop to think about what it really means. It's not just about vehicles or roads. It's about movement, about how we go through our days, how we connect with the world, and sometimes how we find ourselves along the way. Sometimes we go through our days moving from one place to another, riding buses, waiting for trains, calling for rides, walking down familiar roads, and we never really stop to think about it. Transportation sounds like such a simple word, but when you think deeper, it's actually about movement, about journey, and about connection. Today, I want to talk with you about how transportation is not just a system that takes us from point A to point B, but something that quietly shapes how we live, how we feel, and even how we see time passing by. So let's take this slow journey together. No rush. Just you and me, talking, imagining, remembering. Do you remember your very first ride? Maybe it was your first time sitting on a bike with your dad holding the seat from behind. Or maybe it was the first time you took the bus alone, nervous and excited at the same time. That moment when the engine starts, when the world outside begins to move, and your heart beats a little faster because you're going somewhere. That's where transportation starts. Not with vehicles, but with curiosity. That feeling of wanting to go, wanting to see what's out there beyond the corner of your street, beyond the neighborhood you know. As kids, we never thought about distance, fuel, or traffic. We just wanted to move. Movement itself felt like freedom. The sound of the tires, the rhythm of the road, the blurry lights at night, all of them became little pieces of memory. And maybe that's why, even as adults, we still love to travel. Because every time we move, there's a part of us that wakes up, the child who was once curious about the world. Then comes adulthood, and suddenly transportation isn't just about adventure anymore. It's about responsibility, about routine, about the rush of getting somewhere on time. Morning traffic, people lining up for the bus, coffee in one hand, phone in the other. Everyone moving, but no one really looking. You sit there, maybe half awake, watching cars slide by, hearing the same songs on the radio. Sometimes it feels like life becomes one long commute. Wake up, move, arrive, repeat. But if you look closer, transportation, even in its routine form, still tells stories. Each car on the road carries a life, a purpose, a small dream. Someone is going to work. Someone is heading home. Someone is on their way to meet someone they love. Every vehicle becomes a tiny world in motion, and in that sea of engines and horns and traffic lights, we are all just travelers trying to get somewhere that matters to us. Sometimes we hate waiting at bus stops, at train stations, in traffic. But waiting is part of the journey too, isn't it? You look around while waiting and you see people, some tired, some quiet, some smiling at their phones. Everyone is in between places. And somehow that's beautiful. Transportation teaches us patience. You can't rush the train. You can't control the traffic lights. You just wait. And in that waiting, sometimes you think, you reflect, you realize how far you've come, not just in kilometers, but in life. We often forget the simplest form of transportation: walking. No engine, no noise, no speed, just you and your steps. When was the last time you walked without a purpose? Not to reach a store, not to catch a bus, but just to walk. Walking slows down time. It allows the world to speak to you, the sound of leaves, the smell of rain, the rhythm of your own breathing. It reminds you that movement doesn't always have to be fast to be meaningful. In a world that glorifies speed, walking is an act of rebellion, a way of saying, I'm still here. I don't need to rush. Think about it. Roads connect everything: cities, villages, families, memories. And yet, every road tells a different story. Some are filled with noise, motorbikes, honking, voices shouting. Others are quiet, narrow paths with trees and wind. Wherever we go, we leave traces. A part of our story stays there, in the bus seat where we sat crying after a long day, in the train window where we watched the sunset fade, in the car ride where silence said everything words couldn't. Transportation becomes personal when you start remembering the moments attached to it. Today, transportation is changing faster than ever. We can order a ride with one tap, track every route on a map, and even see the exact minute our driver will arrive. We fly across continents in hours, send food across cities in minutes. Technology has made transportation easier, but also noisier, more efficient, but sometimes less meaningful. You know, sometimes I wonder, are we really moving forward or just moving faster? Because in our rush to get somewhere, we might be forgetting to enjoy the road itself. But still, there's beauty in modern transportation too. The first time you sit on a plane and watch the clouds outside, the feeling of realizing you're thousands of feet above the ground, yet calm, safe, and in awe. That's magic too. Transportation isn't just about places, it's about people. Every journey connects you to someone: a stranger sitting next to you, a driver who shares a short conversation, a fellow traveler who smiles when your eyes meet. Sometimes you meet someone only once, on a train, on a flight, on a bus, and that small talk stays in your memory longer than you expect. Transportation brings people together, even just for a moment. And sometimes that's enough. But movement isn't always physical. Sometimes we use transportation to escape, to get away from something we don't want to face. Have you ever taken a long drive just to think? Or sat on a bus staring outside, pretending to be okay. Movement can heal. When the world outside is moving, somehow your thoughts move too. The rhythm of the wheels, the motion of the road, they help your mind process what words cannot. Transportation becomes therapy because sometimes you just need to keep moving to feel alive again. And at the end of every journey, there's one direction that feels different: going home. No matter how far we go, how many flights we take, how many roads we cross, there's always that moment when you step off the vehicle and breathe. This is home.
Transportation isn't just about exploring the world. It's also about returning to a place, to a person, or to yourself. Because home isn't only where you stay. It's where you arrive again and again after every journey. You know, when you think about it, life itself is one big journey. We're always in motion, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, sometimes unsure where we're going. Transportation is just a reflection of that. We wait, we move, we stop, we start again. And in every movement, there's meaning. So next time you're in a car or walking down the street or waiting for a train, take a moment to notice it. Notice the feeling of movement, the sound, the little world passing by your window. Because even those small moments are part of your story. Thank you for traveling with me today. This is Jessica, and this is Beyond Words.